Right now, while you are watching this video, there is a good chance something in your plumbing system is quietly damaging your home. Not a dramatic burst pipe or a flooding basement. Something slower. Something hidden. And by the time most people find it, they are looking at thousands of dollars in repairs they never saw coming. After over 25 years of fixing these exact problems, I have seen the same disasters repeat themselves in house after house. Today, I am walking you through 7 hidden plumbing problems that could be destroying your home right now without you even knowing it. And stick around, because number 6 is the silent killer I find in almost every home I walk into. And the bonus tip at the end is something most plumbers will never tell you. The first hidden problem on this list is slab leaks under your foundation. And this one is as serious as it gets. A slab leak happens when a water supply line, or sometimes a drain line running beneath your concrete foundation, develops a crack or a pinhole. The water has nowhere to go but into the soil and concrete around it, and over weeks and months, it starts undermining the very thing your house sits on. The tricky part is that you cannot see it. The pipe is buried under 4 or more inches of concrete. You might notice your water bill creeping up for no obvious reason. Maybe you feel a warm spot on your tile floor. Maybe you hear the faint sound of water running when every fixture in the house is off. Those are your clues, and most people ignore every single one of them. The most common cause I see is old copper supply lines reacting to the minerals and chemistry of the local soil. In areas with aggressive water or expansive clay soil, copper develops pinhole leaks over time. The fix is rarely simple. You are looking at either tunneling under the foundation to access the pipe, breaking through the slab from above, or rerouting the line entirely through the attic or walls. Costs range from $5,000 to $15,000 depending on the extent of the damage. But the real expense is what happens if you wait. I have seen foundations crack, shift, and settle unevenly because a small slab leak went undetected for a year or more. If your water bill has gone up without explanation, do yourself a favor and call a leak detection specialist. They use acoustic listening equipment and thermal imaging to pinpoint the leak without tearing anything apart. Catching it early is the difference between a $2,000 repair and a $15,000 nightmare. The second hidden problem that catches homeowners off guard is slow drain line buildup. This is one of those things that happens so gradually you do not even notice it until your shower is ankle deep or your kitchen sink takes 10 minutes to empty. Every single day, your drain lines are collecting small amounts of grease, soap residue, hair, mineral deposits, and biofilm. Layer by layer, the inside diameter of your pipes gets smaller and smaller. A 3-inch drain line can end up with an effective opening of less than 1 inch after a decade of buildup, and you would never know it just by looking at the outside of the pipe. Here is what makes this dangerous. When a drain line gets restricted enough, it changes the pressure dynamics in your whole drainage system. You start getting gurgling sounds at fixtures you never had issues with. You might notice one toilet bubbles when you flush another. Slow drains put extra stress on joints and fittings, and in older cast iron systems, the buildup accelerates corrosion from the inside out. I have pulled sections of cast iron pipe out of homes built in the 1960s and 70s, where the interior was almost completely blocked with calcified grease and rust. The pipe looked fine on the outside. Inside, it was nearly closed. The best defense is a camera inspection. For a couple $100, a plumber can run a camera through your main drain line and your branch lines to see exactly what is going on in there. If you have never had your drain scoped and your home is more than 15 years old, you are overdue. Hydrojetting can clean most lines back to near original condition, and it costs a fraction of what a full line replacement runs. Do not wait for a sewage backup in your basement to find out your drains have been closing up for years. The third hidden problem, and one I personally find more often than almost any other, is hidden supply line leaks behind walls. This is the one that keeps me up at night as a plumber, because the damage it causes is completely invisible until it is catastrophic. A supply line behind your wall can develop a slow drip from a corroded fitting, a loose compression nut, a nail that was driven through the pipe during a remodel, or just age and fatigue in the material. That drip does not announce itself. It does not flood your floor. It just quietly soaks into the drywall, the framing, and the insulation behind it. Over weeks and months, mold starts growing in a place you will never see until you either smell it or someone in the house starts having unexplained respiratory issues. I worked on a home 3 years ago where the owners had a small stain on the ceiling of their first floor. They assumed it was a roof leak and ignored it for 6 months. When we opened the wall, we found a quarter-turn supply valve on the second-floor bathroom that had been seeping for what looked like at least a year. The entire wall cavity was black with mold. The subfloor above was spongy and nearly rotted through. The repair bill was over $8,000. The original leak could have been fixed with a $15 valve and 30 minutes of work. Pay attention to any discoloration on your walls or ceilings, any musty smell you cannot locate, and any area where paint is bubbling or wallpaper is peeling for no apparent reason. Those are not cosmetic issues. Those are warning signs that water is where it should not be. Now, if this kind of practical plumbing knowledge is something you want more of, I have written a guide called 50 Easy Plumbing Fixes that will save you $10,000. It is packed with repairs you can do yourself this weekend without calling a plumber. Scan the QR code right now or check the first link below. All right, let us continue. The fourth hidden problem on this list is a failing wax ring on your toilets, and this is one almost nobody thinks to check. Every toilet in your home sits on a wax ring that creates a watertight and gas-tight seal between the base of the toilet and the drain flange in the floor. When that seal fails, 2 things start happening. First, a small amount of water escapes around the base every time you flush. It seeps under the toilet, under the flooring, and into the subfloor below. Second, sewer gas starts leaking into your bathroom. You might notice a faint rotten egg smell that comes and goes. Most people blame it on a dirty bathroom or dry drain and never consider that the wax ring has failed. The most common cause is a toilet that rocks even slightly. If your toilet moves at all when you sit on it or lean against it, the wax ring is being compromised every single time. Over months, that rocking breaks the seal completely. I have pulled toilets off the floor in homes where the plywood subfloor underneath was so rotted you could push your finger through it. In one case, the floor joists below the bathroom were compromised, and we were looking at a $3,000 structural repair that all started with a $4 wax ring. Checking this is straightforward. Get down on the floor next to your toilet. Look for any discoloration, softness, or warping in the flooring immediately around the base. Press on the floor with your hand. If it gives at all, you'll likely have moisture damage underneath. Replacing a wax ring costs almost nothing in parts and takes about 30 to 45 minutes if you are comfortable lifting a toilet. It is one of the cheapest preventive fixes in all of plumbing, and ignoring it is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. The fifth hidden problem is polybutylene, or other outdated supply piping. And if your home was built between roughly 1978 and 1995, pay very close attention. Polybutylene, often called PB pipe, was a flexible gray plastic supply pipe that was installed in millions of homes across the United States. At the time, it was considered a breakthrough because it was cheap, easy to install, and flexible. The problem is that chlorine and other oxidants in municipal water supplies cause the material to deteriorate from the inside out. Microfractures form within the pipe wall, and one day, without warning, the pipe bursts. There is no slow drip stage. There is no warning leak. It just fails. I have responded to emergency calls where an entire finished basement was flooded because a polybutylene line let go while the homeowners were at work. Insurance claims related to polybutylene failures have totaled billions of dollars across the country. Some insurance companies will not even write a policy for a home that still has PB piping. You can identify polybutylene by its color, typically gray but sometimes blue or black, and by the markings on the pipe itself. Look in your basement, crawl space, or wherever your supply lines are visible. If you see stamping that reads PB followed by a series of numbers, you have polybutylene. The only real fix is a full repipe. Modern options include copper, CPVC, CPVC, or PEX. PEX rhymes with flex, with PEX being the most popular and cost-effective choice for retrofits. A whole house repipe runs anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000 depending on the size of the home and accessibility, but compared to the cost of a catastrophic failure and the resulting water damage, it is money well spent. If you have polybutylene in your home, do not wait for it to fail. Get ahead of it. The sixth hidden problem is water heater sediment buildup and hidden corrosion, and this is the silent killer I mentioned at the beginning. Your water heater is probably the most neglected major appliance in your entire house. If you have a tank-style water heater, sediment from your water supply settles at the bottom of the tank every single day. Over time, that layer of calcium, lime, and mineral deposits builds up and creates a barrier between the burner and the water it is supposed to heat. On gas water heaters, this means the burner has to run longer and harder to heat the water through that layer of sediment. You hear popping, crackling, or rumbling sounds coming from the tank. Those sounds are steam bubbles trapped in the sediment layer. That is your water heater telling you it is struggling. On electric water heaters, sediment buries the lower heating element, burns it out prematurely, and reduces efficiency dramatically. But the real danger is what is happening above the water line. Every tank water heater has a component called an anode rod. It is a metal rod, usually magnesium or aluminum, that hangs inside the tank from the top. Its entire job is to corrode instead of the tank itself. It sacrifices itself to protect the steel lining. The problem is that anode rods are designed to last about 3 to 5 years, and almost no one replaces them. Once the anode rod is consumed, the tank itself starts corroding. From the outside, your water heater looks perfectly fine. Inside, rust is eating through the tank lining. One day, the bottom gives out and you have 40 or 50 gallons of water on your floor with no warning. The fix is simple maintenance that most homeowners never do. Flush your water heater once a year by connecting a garden hose to the drain valve at the bottom and running it until the water comes out clear. Check or replace the anode rod every 3 to 5 years. It is accessible from the top of the tank with a 1 1/16" socket. If the rod is more than 50% corroded or thinner than about 3/8 of an inch in diameter, replace it. A new anode rod costs between $20 and $50. A new water heater plus water damage cleanup costs $1,000 to $4,000 or more. The math is simple. The seventh and final hidden problem on this list is improper venting, causing dry traps and sewer gas infiltration. This one is invisible, often odorless in small amounts, and can genuinely affect your health. Every drain in your home has a trap, that curved section of pipe that holds a small amount of water. That water acts as a seal to block sewer gases from coming up through the drain and into your living space. For that system to work properly, every drain needs to be connected to a vent that allows air into the drain system. Without proper venting, the water in your traps gets siphoned out every time a nearby fixture drains. You flush a toilet and the sink in the next room gurgles and loses its trap seal. Now sewer gas, which includes methane, hydrogen sulfide, and other harmful compounds, has a direct path into your home. This is especially common in homes that have had additions or remodels done without permits. I cannot count how many times I have opened up a wall to find a bathroom that was roughed in with no vent whatsoever, or with an illegal S-trap instead of a proper P-trap. Older homes sometimes have vents that have become blocked by bird nests, leaves, ice in cold climates, or even corrosion in old cast iron vent stacks. The signs of a venting problem include slow drains that have no visible clog, gurgling sounds when you run water or flush, and intermittent sewer odors that come and go, especially in bathrooms that do not get used often. If you have a guest bathroom or a basement bathroom that sits unused for weeks at a time, those traps can dry out simply from evaporation, and the smell will tell you about it. The solution depends on the cause. For dry traps and unused fixtures, simply run water in every drain for about 15 to 20 seconds once a week. For venting issues, you may need a plumber to evaluate the system and install or repair vent lines. An air admittance valve, sometimes called a stooter, door vent, can solve localized venting problems without running a new vent pipe through the roof. They cost around $15 to $30 and are code approved in most jurisdictions, though not all. So check your local codes before installing one. All right, here is the bonus tip that pros actually use, and this one could save you from every single problem on this list. Once a year, do a full plumbing audit of your home. I am not talking about calling a plumber, although that is never a bad idea. I am talking about a simple walkthrough you can do yourself in about 30 minutes. Start by checking your water meter. Turn off every fixture and water using appliance in the house. Do not forget the ice maker, the humidifier, and any irrigation systems. Then look at your water meter. If the low flow indicator is still spinning, you have a leak somewhere. Next, walk every room and look at the base of every toilet. Check for soft flooring, discoloration, or rocking. Look under every sink for moisture, drips, or corrosion on the supply valves and connections. Go to your water heater and listen. Look for rust at the base or any pooling water. Then check every drain in the house by running water and watching for slow drainage or gurgling. Finally, walk your basement or crawl space and look at every visible pipe for green corrosion on copper, white mineral buildup at joints, or any signs of moisture. Write down what you find. Most of these problems start small, and catching them small is the entire point. This 30-minute investment once a year can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your home. That is not an exaggeration. I have seen it firsthand more times than I can count. That wraps it up. If this was useful, you will love the full book. 50 step-by-step plumbing fixes with diagrams, all in one guide. Link is below. Hit subscribe so you do not miss the next video. Thanks for watching.